Welcome to Model Horse Tack School, and today we're going to do a rolled cantle. Instead of a Cheyenne roll, we're going to do rolled cantle around the back. Absolutely consider this an advanced feature. We're at the stage that we're at here is saddle tree's a leather tree, and it's at this point here. I've already had done the decoration on my, make sure I don't run out of the edge of the camera. I've already done my buck stitching on my skirts and seat. This one here is the because I want that back to be seen. I've tooled the back of my candle nut. This was the piece from the saddle. This is the piece from the tree. So I decided to use the piece from the saddle instead of the piece from the tree. So that's where we're at there. This has already been tooled. It's already been skived on the edge, and the aluminum seat support is in place, but we haven't yet attached it to the tree. Okay, this is your Cheyenne roll piece. I usually use this. You don't have to. You can just use a straight piece of skiver instead of this, but it gets cut out during the pattern cutting process, so I go ahead and do that. And my this is ready to attach to the seat, which we can do after we get this on. Okay, which we can't do till we get this done, because it goes between these three pieces, and it's easier to do at this stage. Next thing you need is some type of wire. This is a 19 gauge. I think it's a little bit too thin because you're trying to basically cover, excuse me, 2 layers like that. And so you're going to need something better than a 19. It doesn't have to be a bare wire. There's some insulated wire. You could use something like this. That's going to be really thick, so I'd have a thinner skiver. So it's going to depend upon how thick your skiver is and what kind of wire you can find. So, you know, I could take a little bit of this. And it's probably going to be better because this skiver is kind of thick. This was some Rio Rondo stuff. It's a little bit thick. And so if I wrap that around, I can test how it covers. This is probably a better option. I usually like to use my solder because it's just nice and flexible. It's really easy to work with. So if I wrap the solder, you know, it's going to be a little thick because we don't want it to overdo, but it's actually going to be too thick for this. So either I get a thinner skiver or I use a thinner wire. So that's where you're going to kind of have to judge for yourself what you have, what materials you have to work with. So what I'll do is cut myself a piece of this because it's easier to work with when it's loose. And then I'll go ahead and get myself a pair of pliers, and what I need to do is we're going to kind of shape this to the back of, so once this is pushed in like that, these edges should be pushed in as well. So, and that helps to give you your 3-dimension on the back of the seat, right? When you do this right, that's why you might want to use this piece for tooling, because this is more exact to the back of the seat, where this here extends out a little bit. So I'm going to have to, when I put this in and on the seat here, and I push it down, the seat should cup. And then if we just glue the top, you should have a little bit of a separation, and then this will be, that should work. It does, you know, in theory. So, but what I want is this here, finish the length on the back of this seat. So I'm going to kind of, so I prefer to use the solder. In fact, I think what I'll do, now I have to work it in there. So I got to work it to fit the back of the seat. And so it needs to. All right. This is one of the tricky parts right here. Because you want it just to come around and fit right in there. It's going to be pretty close. I'm going to cut it right there. So it's a pretty reasonable fit there. And now we're going to take our cantle piece and glue it around this. Okay, this is where my toothless duckbill or platypus or whatever you want to call them pliers comes in handy, because we're going to roll this. Like I said, a straight piece would probably work better if you've never done it before. I always like working with what I have. And working it straight might work better for you as well. I work it curved because this particular wire is not going to cooperate as well as that solder would have, but I just think that solder is going to be too thick. So you work with what you have and you make it work. There's an adage with woodworking, if you know you have enough glue when it squeezes out upon pressing the edges together. So yes, I know I have enough. Now, one of the things I do like about using this piece is it ends up with these tails at the end. If we do this right, I can use those to help secure it to the saddle. All right. Let's see if we can. Might have to hit that with an edge coat or a pin. So we kind of want this flat. So I'm going to get rid of some of these wrinkles here. I was a little too aggressive on that one, but we can fix it. I want that as round on the back as possible. All right, now the next thing is to make sure it's going to fit in here. I think I'm going to skive that just a little bit to get a flatter edge. All right, so all right, I think I'm okay with that. All right, and now I think I might take some of this off. All right, we're going to use this side, tails up. And we only really want to glue the bottom half, so I'm trying to keep the glue on the bottom half here, not where the wire is, but below. And because I pre-formed the wire, this should actually be pretty easy. Okay, I'm going to try and reduce some of this bulk right here. Because it's not going to be seen, so I'm going to try and reduce that. Reducing the bulk in miniature is your primary concern. Because that's the third dimension. Yeah, I think I'd use a thinner skiver. Well, but you gotta go with what you got, right? Not everybody's got the thin skiver. All right. And now we're going to glue this to here. Now I'm using a kind of contrasty, so I want to make sure that I don't have that showing. So I'm going to go ahead and trim that a little bit. In this case here, I used a suede instead of a skiver. So I'm trying to find different ways to do this without skiver. Sorry, my banana tree just turned on. There we go. Get rid of the fan. Because when I put this on, I want to make sure I don't. I've got a good gap here, so the so it doesn't poke through my work. And because this isn't going to be seen, and it's not a suede I'll probably use on any other project, it actually works out pretty good here. Okay, so I got a nice gap all the way around the top. I'm going to go ahead and get that glued into place with a slight bevel like I had showed you before. So that means there's not going to be a lot of contact. Where if you had tooled this piece, of course you couldn't use this pattern, but you could tool that piece and then you could go flatter, so it would be easier. But I'm going to slightly bevel this tree support. Probably need clamps for this. Birds are really loud this morning. I don't want to complain because I had one of them pass away. They're starting to get old. And she pretty much, they didn't sing for a month after she passed. That was the matriarch of the clan. So so it's important to let this dry before we put this onto our tree. So that would be the next step. Okay, so everything is kind of dried up here. Okay, so everything's dried here, and it's time to put this right on there. So let's get this glued up. Again, I consider this an advanced talent, not a skill. Not something for, you know, you have to have a good feel for your leather, for your tools, and for your skills. Confidence is what you really need too, because you have to believe you can do it. And you get that from experience. You know, if you've done things multiple times, then doing something new is, you know, pretty easy. So let's lay that there. Lay that down there. And these always help keep that in place. And then this back here, should sit right in place. And it's just really magical the way it goes upward, right? At least I think it's magical. I'm going to go ahead and glue this down where it belongs because it wants to shuffle in the wrong direction. So go ahead and pull that forward and glue it down. That way it's not moving around. And there we have. That looks pretty good. Those are going to work. So, there we go. All right. Probably need to smooth that down a little more. There we go. That is your rolled cantle. Thank you for spending time with me today. Like, subscribe, share this with your friends. If you think I deserve it, buy me a coffee. and have yourself a really good day.